Good morning, children. How are you? Fine. Today, we are going to begin the second chapter from the book Politics in India Since Independence. Remember, in the previous chapter, first chapter of the same book, we discussed about several issues, the way independence was accompanied by partition, their consequences. Then, as a concluding topic, we discussed about States Reorganization Commission. Fine, children. Here in the second chapter, what challenges and the heading of the chapter, Challenge of Nation Building, we have discussed in that chapter that this challenge of nation building certainly it got accompanied by the challenge, or it included the challenge of instituting democratic politics. Fine, children, are you getting my point? Yes. Means that challenge of nation building included the challenge of instituting democratic politics. So, among the political parties, what began just after independence, it was electoral competition. Fine, children? The electoral competition. It began among political parties immediately just after independence. So, here we shall be discussing about the first decade. The first decade, okay, of electoral competition means the decade of 1950s, to understand some key features. Number one, that how did we succeed in establishing a system of free and fair election? Yes, children, the kind of free and fair election is being conducted in our country, is being held on this planet in our country as the world's largest democracy. Means in the world's largest democracy, that is unparalleled. Fine. Whenever election takes place, observers across the globe they come to understand, to see that how does Indian succeed, how does our system succeed in ensuring the free and fair election, in conducting the free and fair election on such a large level, on such a vast level, children. So, this establishment of a system of free and fair election, we will try to understand. The second point, the dominance of the Congress party, means in the years just after independence, how dominant role had been played by the Congress party, that we will try to understand the factors responsible behind their domination. And third one, the emergence of opposition parties. Opposition party also emerged, and what had been their policies? Because children, we know that in a true democracy, opposition parties had been playing and must play most important role. In absence of opposition party, we can't say that there is a true democracy. Fine. So, in this challenge of nation building, under the second chapter, era of one party dominance, we will discuss, as we know that, or in the previous chapter we had discussed about the circumstances, the conditions, how difficult it was in which our country got independence, and simultaneously the challenge, very serious challenge we faced about nation building, the challenge of nation building and the serious challenge of nation building that our country faced or confronted right in the beginning. Fine. So, if any nation faces such a serious challenge, leaders in that country, they used to have immense responsibility, and leaders in many other part of the world. Yes, children. Leaders in many other parts of the world, they decided that their country could not afford to have democracy. Okay, they decided that my country couldn't afford democracy. What are we discussing here? That leaders in many other countries of the world, means the circumstances in which India emerged independent. So, if similar circumstances occurred, different leaders in different countries of the world, they decided that fine enough, my country, our country couldn't afford to have democracy at this moment. For them, they told that for us, our priority is, what is our first and foremost priority? That is national unity. Means they decided to focus on national unity. Simultaneously, democracy, they thought that introduction of democracy certainly will also introduce the differences and conflicts in a society, what they never wanted to take place, what they never wanted to pave the way for. Clear? That's why many of the countries that gained freedom from the colonial master, whosoever it was, they, all of them were not lucky like India and we Indians, that they succeeded in establishing a democratic setup. Most of the countries, many of the countries, they experienced non-democratic rule. And here in this non-democratic rule, various forms we had. Non-democratic rule in different countries, we had, like, in different form we faced non-democratic rule. Like, somewhere we found nominal democracy, means for the namesake. For the namesake, they told, okay, we are having democratic setup, we are going to establish democracy, but it wasn't. Okay, it wasn't democracy. In fact, it was controlled by one leader, one person, and they are telling it's a democracy. We can't term it, and it cannot be a true democracy. Some other country, it was one party rule. Or in case of a one party rule, in Mexico, we have discussed, and you must have discussed in your previous classes, one party rule. You see the condition of China, they are telling we are a democratic nation, but what kind of democracy they do have, we all are well aware. And in this present circumstances of COVID-19, the way facts are being suppressed, the way the media agencies, the media houses has been hijacked, and the way an undisclosed censorship had been imposed on them, we all are well aware, children. So, for the namesake, they are telling it's a democracy, that we say a nominal democracy. Okay, somewhere we do have the army rule, as we saw in our neighborhood, be that the northwestern part, be that in the eastern part, we are finding those cases. Okay, and once they established themselves, what happened simultaneously? That non-democratic regime, they started every time with a promise, that what promise they gave, what promise they made. They made a promise of restoring democracy very soon. But once they established themselves, it was very difficult to dislodge them. It means they are telling that we will give you chance very soon, but after establishment of non-democratic rule, they never paved the way for democracy. Means their promise was also a false. They made a false promise, children. Can you imagine? It happens with the non-democratic rule, be that dictatorship, be that army rule, be that the nominal democracy, be that one party rule. Fine. So now the condition we had in our country, it was not different. Conditions were not different in our country also, but the leaders in our country, leaders of newly independent India, they decided to take a difficult path. They decided to take a more difficult path. And why did they decide to take such a difficult path? For the very basic reason that during our freedom struggle, our commitment was towards idea of democracy. That's why we say that any other path would have been surprising. Any other path would have been surprising for our freedom struggle, because our freedom struggle was committed towards the idea of democracy. We had decided in principle that whenever we would succeed in getting independence, we would be a democratic country. Fine. Our leaders were conscious. Our leaders were conscious of the important role, of the critical role of politics. Means how important, how critical role politics plays in any and may play in any democracy. So, for them, for our leaders, politics had never been seen as a problem. You would be surprised if right now also anyone amongst us we find politics is a problem. No, you're wrong. If I'm saying so, if I'm opining so, I'm also wrong. Politics is not a problem. In fact, politics is a way of solving all these problems. If our intentions are genuine, then politics has been giving us, politics is empowered, politics is entitled, politics is capable to give us the solution of every existing problem. Every society, they needs to decide how it will be governed. Means that is the self-governance. That is the self-governance. Right to govern oneself. Right of self-governance. How will they do? How will they succeed? What kind of rule they want? What kind of policy they want? Okay, this right they do have. How it will be governed, how it will be regulated, and how will they regulate themselves. That's why we are finding the different policy alternatives to choose from. Okay, we are having different policy alternatives and we need to choose among those policy alternatives. That's why different groups we do have with different and conflicting aspirations. We are finding in our day-to-day life, we are finding in our politics that we do have the different groups. They are having conflicting aspirations, they are having different aspirations. At times they are contradictory. So, the problem is, how do we succeed in resolving these differences? Okay, how will we succeed in finding a way out? Okay, how do we resolve these differences? So, answer lies in democratic politics. Yes, children, the answer of this question lies in democratic politics, one and only. And as we know that in democratic politics, what are the two most important aspects, or we say that two most visible things of democratic politics are competition and power. Competition and power are two most visible things about politics. Fine. If these are the two most visible aspects of our politics, it means, and it simply means that this is the route our leaders decided to take. And how can we forget the purpose of political activity is in our country? The purpose of political activity is, and it must be deciding and pursuing public interest, only public interest. Okay, so this particular route has been adopted by our leaders. Our leaders decided to take this particular route. Fine. a tough one we decided for ourselves. Clear? Our lesson we would wind up with a quote by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar while delivering a speech in Constituent Assembly on November 25th, 1949. Remember, by 26th November, our constitution was ready. A day before, he gave a very famous quote that in our country, and rather, he warned us regarding hero worship. Any person must not be worshipped. Hero worship is a wrong concept. In its exact terms, hero worship plays a part in its politics, unequaled in magnitude by the part it plays in the politics of any other country. But in politics, hero worship is a sure road to degradation and eventual dictatorship. Okay, thank you. Have a good day.